All right, and welcome back to the forecast card. Another pretty miserable day. 6-9 on the day. Yeah, some unlucky games, some just bad reads. But yeah, let's go through each game. Pirates first on money line. They end up almost blowing this game at the end, but they kind of have a pretty comfortable 2-0 lead or 3-0 lead going into the sixth, so that was pretty sweat free. Rangers Tigers under. Game ends up being 2-1. Again, pretty sweat free. Only 6 hits in that game. Nationals first five money line. Zero chance of hitting. Nationals end up putting 0 runs at home. Only 4 left on base. They just got completely clobbered. Eric Fetty went 9 innings, 8 strikeouts, 0 earned runs. So pretty insane game from him. Yeah, sometimes you just get shit on by a pitcher. Brewers money line. Again, in my opinion, it really should have hit. 8 left on base, more hits than the Rays. 3 errors, 1 walked-in run at the end of the game that ends up being the difference. So, pretty shitty game there from the Brewers. Pretty pathetic. Cubs Mets first five under. Like, I don't know why this happens. When I take unders, home runs are just like hotcakes. Yeah, I think 4 home runs in the first five. Just insane. I think there ends up being 6 home runs in this game. Again, the weather was like blowing out. Mets Stadium is not really that good for home runs, yet somehow these guys just kept drilling home runs right down the center, like all game. Anyway, that was just natural. Whatever happens. Phillies first time money line. Again, should have hit. They had 9 left on base when you consider double plays. They had 3 double plays in this first 5 innings. Guardians literally up until the bottom of the fifth, where they ended up getting a few runs, they got completely shit on this first five. Phillies could not get a run across. They'd loaded twice. Anyway, it is what it is, I guess. Reds Royals over 9. Probably my worst play ever. These guys went into overtime 0-0. I was hoping for some miracle in overtime, but yeah, I don't know. Dobbins has a perfect game. Lorenzen plays insane. I think Lorenzen at home is going to be a new bet for me because he just looks really good. Anyway, Reds Astros under 8. This ends up being 3-0, pretty sweat free. Padres Rockies over 11, sweat free, ends up being like 20 runs. Dodgers Diamondbacks over, extremely sweat free, ends up being like 25 runs. Jays Mariners under. This died pretty quickly. Again, this Jays offense seems to only be good against decent pitchers. Luis Castillo, I thought he would bounce back at home. Terrible start. Gosman, uh, only 3 strikeouts, gave up 7 hits. This was pretty much dead immediately. Yankees money line, pretty sweat free. They ended up winning that game like, what was it, like 10-0 or something. 10-2. Maryland's first five, again, in my opinion, a bet that should have hit. They also strand so many runners in the first five. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Max Meyer actually had a decent start up until he gave up a bunch of home runs again, as usual. Whatever happens. Marlins end up finishing the first five down 1-2. Giants money line. They just couldn't do anything. Like I don't really understand why their offense could not hit Paddock, who I think is one of the worst pitchers in baseball. I guess they just went cold. Jordan Hicks had a decent start, but again, he gave up a few runs like he normally does. And Angels first five money line. That one had no chance. Orioles just kind of got hot. Again, they got 3 runs in the first 3 innings and then nothing until the ninth. So just enough to kill me. Again, Sugano, I don't know what this guy's on. His ERA is insane, despite, in my opinion, having terrible stuff. But I don't know. Maybe he's just getting used to. I don't know. Anyway, pretty shitty day. Again, I think there was a certain angle in all of these games that felt like they should have hit, but of course that's my bias. But anyway, let's get into the games for today. All right, moving on to game number 1. We have the Pirates at home versus the Braves again. This is going to be just a Pirates first five money line for me here. Again, both these teams offensively, you don't know what you're going to get from them. Pirates can hit righties. One of the worst offenses in baseball. But the Braves versus lefties is almost just as bad, if not worse, against left-handed pitching. And I think Heaney is just a more well-rounded pitcher than AJ Smith-Shawver. Heaney, 33 years old, coming off a really, really, two kind of rough starts, giving up 4 earned runs. But before that, he had 2 really, really good starts against some good teams. But again, he played the Cubs and Padres at home. I think he's just historically a pitcher that has been, kind of due for a good start here against a much worse offense. Again, he's been a pretty solid pitcher, sub-4 ERA his whole career, especially at home. His biggest problem is lefties, and I think the Braves' current bats that are hitting really well are not the lefties. Matt Olson's been cold. Verdugo's been cold. Honestly, they've all been pretty shit, so I think he's going to have a good start. AJ Smith-Schuster, he just had an insane start, giving up only 1 hit over 8 innings pitched against the Reds. I think he's due here to get lit up. This is still a guy that he still had 4 walks in that game. His walks are a problem. Strikeouts are decent, but I don't think he's really this good. Like, he's being lit up in minor leagues when he does play. Doesn't go very far into games, and the Braves bullpen isn't phenomenal. So I think this 22-year-old is due for a bad outing here against a Pirates offense that isn't good, but I think he'll give up a couple home runs, which should be enough here to cover the first 5 again. So Pirates first 5 money line for me. All right, moving on to game number 2, we have the Cardinals heading on the road to play the Nationals. Now, the Nats just got completely shut out. I think that was just a random Fetty. Sometimes pitchers just feel it. Their zone is perfect. They can read their hitters. I think the Nats bounce back here. I think Palante is not a bad pitcher at all. He's pretty solid, 26, but again, historically he's been much, much worse on the road. He's kind of struggling against lefties and righties a bit this year, but historically, righties have been the problem for him. And despite the fact the Nats have not that many righties on their lineup, the fact that he is struggling a little bit against lefties, especially on the road here, I think the Nats are going to bounce back after getting shut out yesterday. Trevor Williams hasn't looked phenomenal. Again, giving up 4 earned runs, 5 earned runs over the last 2 starts. I think he's due for a bounce back as well. Historically, he's been much, much better at home. Last year, he had a really good season at home, a sub-2 ERA. I think he's going to get back to some level of normalcy. This Cardinals lineup, they have no, massive names, but they're playing really well. So I'm not really too confident in this bet, but I refuse to believe that the Nationals don't bounce back after a terrible start. It's going to be Nats for me here, but I obviously don't have nothing to do with that bullpen. Moving on to the third game, we have the Yankees heading on the road to play the Athletics. This is a weird one for me. I'm not particularly happy to take minus 145, but again, Yankees are one of the best teams in slugging against lefties. Rodon started off a little bit cold this year, but he's locked in. He's had 4 starts that have been elite, 6 innings, 7 innings, 6 innings, 6 and 2/3 innings, only giving up 2 earned runs. 7, 5, 8, 9 strikeouts. His walks have been down over the last 2 games. I think he's going to have a really, really good start here against an Athletics team that's been not bad against lefties, but not phenomenal. He's been really good, and historically, not necessarily a great road pitcher, but he's looked really good on the road this year. So I think he's going to have a good start. JP Sears on the other side. You never really know what you're going to get from JP, but he's been really, really bad at home his whole career. We're getting him here at home against a pretty solid Yankees lineup that seems to be really hitting the ball well. So with the wind blowing out in this small stadium, I think the Yankees just have the better bats here to get hard contact over Sears than what Rodon should give up. So again, Yankees money line for me at minus 145. Moving on to game number 4, we have the Brewers heading on the road to play the Rays. Now, both these teams offensively, nothing really impressive yesterday at all, but I think we're going to see a lot more runs here today. On paper, these 2 teams haven't been great offensively, but again, Rays on the season have still been a top 10 offense at home versus righties. I think they bounce back a little bit here, and the Brewers also about pretty much a top 10 offense on the road versus righties. So again, 2 decent offenses here, 2 pitchers that have not looked really good at all this year. Taj Bradley's only 24, but he's really been struggling. Ton of walks. Strikeouts have been significantly down over his last 4 starts. I think it's, again, when a strikeout pitcher is not getting strikeouts, but he's still having a decent ERA, I think he's just due to get lit up here. Again, this is going to be a bit of a rough start for him. Again, historically he's been pretty good at home, but again, I just think he's going to get lit up here a little bit from this Milwaukee team that had a bit of a shitty game yesterday, stranding a ton of runners. On the other side, we have Tobias Myers, who has had 2 decent starts. Again, he only went 5 in a 1/3 inning. The Spurs bullpen is still going to be taxed a little bit more than it was yesterday, using up a ton of their really good arms. And the rest of the guys kind of suck. So I think the Rays should have success against him. Yes, he had a good start against Houston. Still, he only had 2 strikeouts in that game, 6 hits, and he still didn't go that far into the game. So I think he still sucks. He's been historically way, way worse on the road, especially this season. I think the Rays get to him, especially with considering they have 6 lefty bats, potentially 7 lefty bats, and that's kind of been his kryptonite historically, with a batting average of .429 this year against lefties and .266 on his career. So, yeah, I'll be on the over 9 in this game. If you look at the weather, though, weather is going to be heavily blowing right to left, and it's going to feel like 90 degrees. It's going to be a really, really warm game. A lot of humidity in the air. I'm expecting that the ball is going to fly a little bit better, especially going right to left. Historically, is the wind pattern that leads to the most runs. So I think we should see some home run balls, quite a few doubles here, as the ball tends to travel a little bit more in this kind of weather. So over 9. Moving on to the next game, we have the Phillies heading on the road to play the Cleveland Guardians. This is going to be one of my 2 smaller unit bets here. I'm going to be on the under. I refuse to believe that Ranger Suarez does not have a better start. Yes, he has a 17 ERA, but if you look at his xFIP, he clearly got incredibly unlucky in that game because he's still a top 20 pitcher in terms of xFIP on the season. I genuinely don't think he's as bad as his numbers suggest. He kind of just had a bit of a rough inning, giving up 7 hits, 7 earned runs, no home runs. So just really bad time of when he gave up the runs. I think he bounces back here big time. He still looked pretty decent in the minor league, so I think he just had a rough road start. I think he bounced back here against a Cleveland team that has really been struggling against righties. It's home versus lefties. Again, they're a bottom 2 offense in baseball over the season. Again, they haven't really faced many lefties at home, but in general versus lefties, they're definitely way worse of an offensive team, considering they are mostly made up of left-handed pitchers or hitters. So I think the top of their lineup, the biggest threats are going to be nullified a bit, and they're going to be running a bunch of random righties that they have, who are definitely much worse than the Steven Kwan, Ramirez, Santana Manzardo combo. So I think he has a really good start. I think the Phillies bullpen is going to have a lot of success today. And Tanner Bibby, I think he's just a solid home pitcher. Really, really good at home this season. 1-0. Strikeouts could be better. Walks could be down, but I think he has a really good start here against this Phillies team that can't seem to hit righties on the road for some reason. Again, 2 decent bullpens, 2 good solid pitchers, and I think weather for this game is going to be a little bit chilly. It's going to be 66 degrees. I guess not necessarily that cold, but wind's going to be blowing in from left field, which again is typically a wind pattern that does lead to fewer runs statistically. So give me the under 8 here at -120 for a quarter unit. Moving on to the next game, we have the Rangers heading on the road to play the Tigers. Now, I'm not necessarily sure why we're getting Tigers here at +105. Again, if you look at the patterns of, I took the under yesterday, but that was because the Tigers historically have really bad bats after coming from Colorado. But the game after that, especially if they lost, they put up like double-digit runs in both of those games. In the second game of the series, returning from Coors Field, so I think they get to DeGrom. Has DeGrom been elite this year? Yes, but most of his good starts have been at home, where he's mostly pitched at home. He's only had 2 road starts, and in both those road starts, he gave up 2 earned runs, 3 earned runs. Only went 4 innings, 5 and a third inning, 6 hits, 3 hits. His Ks were down, his walks were up. So I think we're going to see another really good start here from Detroit. Yeah, again, this is a DeGrom pitcher who does struggle a little bit against lefties right now this season, and Detroit has some really good lefties. On the other side, we have Jack Flaherty, who on paper his win-loss 1-4. He's getting unlucky, but his Ks are up. Yes, he's been giving up some hits, some earned runs, 3-2, 4-4 over his last 4 starts, but he's played some pretty solid teams, and he's much, much better at home. This is going to be a home start finally. His last home start, he played the Padres, only gave up 2 earned runs, 6 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts. I think he's way better of a home pitcher with this, sub 2 ERA at home. And again, he's really, really good against lefties this season. And I think that's kind of more of the threat of this Rangers offense. So, yeah, I think the Tigers end up winning this game. They have this way better bullpen over the Rangers. I think Flaherty has a good start here. Historically, been really, really good against this Rangers lineup with a OPS of .514 over 65 at-bats. So, yeah, give me the Tigers here plus money for plus 105. Moving on to the next game, we have the Red Sox heading on the road to play the Royals. Now, both these teams did shit all yesterday. Royals end up winning that game. I just don't really understand this Red Sox team. I do think Cole Ragans, though, is the better pitcher. When you have 2 elite pitchers in any kind of game, I typically do tend to lean on the home team, the home pitcher. Yes, Garrett Crochet has pitched better on the road this year. But, again, his road starts have not been impressive. He played Texas without Seager. He played the White Sox. He played Toronto. And he played Baltimore. 4 teams whose offenses have been very shitty this year. I think he's due to get lit up. He's given up a decent amount of hits over his last few starts, 4-5, 4-4. Giving up 4 earned runs in one of them. But I think he's gotten kind of lucky to not be lit up a little bit more. Cole Ragans, on the other hand, has been insane. He just came off one of his best starts. 5 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, no earned runs. Again, against the White Sox and Colorado. You could say he's not actually really that good, but again, some good lineups. He's still putting up double-digit strikeouts, going long into games. So I think he's playing really well, and we're getting him at home here against, again, a lineup, in my opinion, that's kind of mid against left-handed pitching. So, yeah, I think the Royals are slowly getting back into it. I have this modeled out as like a 0.8 run win for the Royals. So getting them again plus money at home. With a much better bullpen. I'm gonna lean with the Royals here at plus 105. All right, heading on to next game, we have the Reds heading on the road to play the Stros. This is going to be a domed game, so weather's not really going to be a factor. Wind is blowing heavily in, so it's kind of good that it's not. But yeah, again, we're going to be seeing Brady Singer on the road, who's been pretty mediocre. Again, his starts on the road have been really bad, despite playing significantly worse offenses. I think we're going to see a really bad start from him. Again, he has a 2.82 ERA at home, a sub-1 whip, but on the road he has a 4.76 ERA, a 1.35 whip. And we've seen that pretty consistently over his career, that he's been much worse on the road. Again, he's not that bad against right-handed pitching this year, but historically, like 2023, he had a terrible year against righties. So I think it just depends on whoever he ends up playing season to season. I don't necessarily think that the Astros having a full righty lineup is going to be that big of a problem. Lance, on the other side, is not a bad pitcher. Again, his last start, he played the White Sox. And again, he only went 3 2/3 innings, 87 pitches, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. Didn't give up a run, but again, that was the White Sox. I just don't think if he doesn't go very far into games, I don't really fully know what to expect. The bullpen, Astros used a couple of their better arms yesterday to keep that that tight game close. I think we should see some runs again. We have a domed game here, so the weather's not going to be too much of an impact. Astros Stadium is not necessarily a crazy stadium for runs. Again, it's probably in the mid tier in terms of park factor, but I do expect us to see a decent amount of runs here. So I'm going to be on the over 7.5 here at minus 110 in this game. All right, moving on to our next game, we have the Marlins heading on the road to play the White Sox. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. Again, we have 2 pitchers that I actually don't think are that bad. Yes, Edward Cabrera is having some bad numbers this season, but he's still a 27-year-old. He's had a couple good starts. Again, his bad starts this year have been against some of the best offenses in baseball, Arizona and Dodgers. He gave up 5 earned runs in both of those games. But again, strikeouts have been okay. If he can deal with his walks like he did in his last game, I think he'll be fine. I think he's a decent pitcher. I think he's due to fix that ERA a little bit. I think he'll bounce back here against a pretty bad White Sox offense. And then they say we got Shane Smith, who is probably one of the better pitchers in this White Sox team. He's had some pretty solid starts. Again, his walks are not great, but when he doesn't deal with walks, he's been good, sub-3 ERA at home and on the road. So we get two of the better starting pitchers for these two teams coming up today. Again, it's going to be a little bit chilly today. It's going to be 42 degrees. And yes, wind's blowing left to right heavily, but if you look at the numbers, wind blowing from left to right is historically something that leads to much fewer runs, especially blowing in like the mid 13 miles per hour. That's one of the stats that historically have shown no runs being scored. So I think we have two decent pitchers playing in cold weather, two offenses that have been mediocre against right-handed pitching. Yeah, I'm going to be on the first 5 under here, 4.5 at -135. I think we have a bit of a pitching duel today. All right, moving on to our next game, we have the Cubs heading on the road to play the Mets. This one, I don't know. The price is a bit odd for me. Obviously, the Cubs are still one of the best offenses in baseball, despite having a couple dud games. But yeah, I think Tyler McGill is just way more impressive of a pitcher than the Cubs are going to be running a bullpen day. McGill is still yet to give up a run at home in his 3 starts. He's been pretty much lights out. I think he's going to continue that way. Mets bullpen is, I think, slightly better than the Cubs. And again, the Cubs are going to be running a bunch of random bums. I think Cade Horton is going to be starting. Who knows how far he goes into these games, but yeah, he's been fine in the minor leagues, but who knows how good he's going to be in such a massive jump up against one of the best offenses in baseball. So I think he's going to be a little bit nervous. I think the Mets get to him, and I think Tyler McGill has another fantastic home outing. So give me the Mets money line here at -135. All right, heading on to our next game, we have the Giants heading on the road to play the Twins. Now, I don't particularly love to take unders. I think Logan Webb sometimes gets lit up every now and then. Same with Joe Ryan. But again, both these pitchers have looked really, really good this season, especially xFIP numbers. Both of them are in the top 10. Logan Webb, again, hasn't been as good on the road his whole career. He's been much, much better of a home pitcher. But I think that bounces out a little bit. I think he's going to find a little bit of success here. Again, on the road, he's played insane teams, which is more so why I think his numbers are swayed this way. He's played the Angels, which I guess not a good offense, but he's played the Padres, the Yankees, the Astros. And again, in those games, he struck out 12 against the Angels, only gave up 1 earned run. He basically has had only one really bad start this season, and that was against the Yankees and the Padres. He's still been an elite pitcher on the road, despite having a couple hiccups. But I think he's going to have no problems against his Minnesota team that still hasn't looked phenomenal. No true all-star on that team. And I've got Joe Ryan, who's been really good at home. Yeah, his last start, he played against the Angels. He gave up 0 earned runs, 11 strikeouts through 7 innings. This guy is looking really good this year. He's only had 1 bad start against the Braves, and that was at the Braves. And he still went 5 innings in that game. So I think he bounces back big time here. Not even bounces back. He continues to roll after a solid start against Boston. 2 solid bullpens. Again, weather is going to be blowing in, so home run balls should be less likely. It's going to feel a little bit cold because of the wind. I think this is going to be a bit of a pitching duel. I think both pitchers go 6-7 innings, and bullpens in a tight game end up being their best arms. So, yeah, give me the under 7.5 here in the Giants at Twins game. Moving on, we have the Padres heading on the road to play the Rockies. I'm just going to be on the over in this game again. We have Stephen Kolek, who I don't really know much about. He's 28 years old. He's had some good starts, some bad starts. But again, last season in AAA, he had a 6 ERA. The year before that, in the majors, he had a 5 ERA. He's almost, I don't know, he had a couple good seasons, but he's looking kind of shit again. In his starts in the minor leagues, he's getting completely lit up. 10 hits, 4 hits, 9 hits, 6 hits, 2 runs, 6 runs, 7 runs, 3 runs. Never went more than 5 innings. I think he's not great. Yes, the Padres have one of the best bullpens, but if he's getting pulled early, I mean, he's already given up like 4 or 5 runs to the Rockies, which is probably way more than enough to get this over. Yeah, I don't think he's that good. Last season he sucked on the road. Now he's having to pitch in Rockies ballpark. He's gonna struggle a bit. And then we got Blalock on the other side, who obviously everyone knows is kind of dog shit. He had a decent start last game, but again, he rarely goes long into ball games. Not a huge strikeout guy. A decent amount of walks. His most recent start in the minor leagues, he gave up 3 earned runs, 4 walks on only 2.1 innings pitched. So I think he sucks. Both bullpens are a little bit taxed after yesterday's game. I don't think the Padres wanted to pull out some of their better arms, but that game almost got away from them in the 9th inning. So again, 2 bullpens that used up some arms. Wind are going to be blowing out in Rockies Field. It's going to be sunny. Yeah, give me the over 11.5 in this game at -105. Moving on to our next game, we have the Dodgers heading on the road to play the Diamondbacks. Now, is Corbin Burnes as good as he maybe once was? Probably not. But I still think he's a solid pitcher, especially at home. He's been maintaining around a 3 ERA at home over the last 2 years. Definitely solid. I think he pitches well. Again, Dodgers still a scary lineup, but they're still going to be without a couple of their more important bats, especially down the lineup. They got Outman and Kim now. Conforto has looked terrible. Pages has kind of cooled off. Max Muncy's kind of hitting a little bit more now, but he still sucks. Will Smith's being bad. If we can get past Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman, the rest of the lineup is kind of mediocre. Dustin May, he's had some good starts this year, but he's also gotten lit up a couple times. His last 3 starts, he's given up at least 3 runs. Hasn't won more than 5 innings. Again, he gave up 10 hits against the Cubs, 5 against the Marlins, and 5 against the Braves, including 2 home run balls and a ton of walks to boot. He's been really bad on the road, 6.48 ERA this year, struggling against righties, which is a good chunk of, I guess, the bad hitters on the Dodgers team. I think Corbin Carroll, Marte, Smith, Naylor still get to him, and then the righties will have a bit better of a matchup. We got the pitching advantage. Again, Corbin Burnes has pitched really well against this Dodgers lineup. .564 OPS over 64 at-bats. Only given up 18 hits, only 1 home run, 23 strikeouts. I think he has another good outing here at home. Then we got, again, an Arizona team that still smacks the hell out of righties. And they're probably going to want some revenge after that game kind of got away from them yesterday, thanks to a Shohei walk-off. So don't really want to deal with the Diamondbacks bullpen. I think it's a little bit beat up. And I think the Dodgers just have a lot more depth. So I'll be on the D-backs. First 5 money line here at -115. Moving on, we have the Orioles heading on the road to play the Angels. I think the Orioles are starting to get runs. Kyle Gibson obviously had a horrible start in the Yankees, giving up 5 home runs, 9 earned runs. Game after that, not a phenomenal start again. You give 1 home run, only 3 strikeouts, went only 4 innings. I think he's slowly getting back into the groove of things. Again, his sweeper is elite, and if he can get back to how good it is, I think that this is just a team in Angels that cannot hit righties, especially not the sweeper. So if he can get back to form, I think he has finally a good outing here. He hasn't looked that bad in AAA. Again, last year he was not nearly this bad, especially a pitcher that pitches much better on the road. So maybe this is what he needs. A third road start to light him back up. On the other side, we have Jack Cockowitz, who I think is terrible. Some people think he's good, but again, his last 5 starts, 7 hits, 8 hits, 8 hits, 4 hits, 7 hits. Including that, he has 3 walks, 1 walk, 1 walk, 4 walks, 2 walks, strikeouts. He only got to 6 in 1 game, and that was in Seattle, which is a crazy pitcher's ballpark. I think he's going to get completely lit up here by one of the best teams against righties. I think the regression of the Orioles hitting righties is starting to hit in now on the road. So, yeah, I'll be on the Orioles money line here. I think they have the better bullpen, better starting pitcher, and a lineup of lefties that should hit the hell out of Cockowitz. At -135, I think that's a really good price. All right, and to finish us off, another small unit bet for me, we have the Jays heading on the road to play the Mariners. Again, I know a lot of people don't like Bound Francis. I don't personally love him either. But his biggest problem is the home run ball. When he's not giving up home runs, I think he's actually a pretty serviceable pitcher. Again, historically, he's been much better on the road. I think he has a good start here in, again, a ballpark that is very much a pitcher's ballpark. The other side, we got Logan Evans. He's 1-1 on the year, but he's not looked really good at all. His ton of walks. He last start against Texas, he gave up 11 hits. He hasn't looked very good in AAA either. His last two starts, 6 hits. Strikeouts have been decent, but again, still AAA. Again, this is going to be a pitcher's ballpark, but I do think the Jays' offense is slowly getting better against righties. And I think they do have, again, a bullpen that almost threw the game away again yesterday. Again, I don't love the Jays. I am a Jays homer, so you could argue that maybe I'm overthinking, but I think Bowden is just a slightly better pitcher here than Logan Evans. Mariners might want some revenge here, but I think the Jays, after the Mariners beat them at home, I think they're also wanting to return that favor and win the series here. So I think that the Mariners win the finale, but I think the Jays can steal this game here on the road against a bit of a young rookie arm. So give me the Jays money line here for a quarter unit up plus 105. All right, that's everything for me today. Hopefully we get back on track. Obviously, the last couple of days have been pretty shit. Again, baseball is a marathon. You're gonna have bad weeks no matter what. The sport is very unpredictable. Elite pitchers have terrible days. Shit lineups have really good days. Sometimes you'll get a team with 10 hits and a team with 1 hit, and the team that has 1 hit had a home run, and that's enough to win the game. Definitely a tough spot. Hopefully, again, the way I prefer people to kind of look at my picks is not to just tail me blindly, but to do your own research, figure out what you like, see if you agree with what I say. Maybe you have your own opinions on different pitchers, different opinions on spots for different teams. Maybe you have some trends that I haven't looked at, but again, this is just what I'm betting every day. I've had a pretty good track record historically, but again, anything can happen in baseball. I could have a perfect day today. I could lose every single bet. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's my fault. And in the same way, if I have a perfect day, it doesn't mean I had a perfect analysis and maybe got a little bit lucky, which you kind of do need in baseball. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys all tomorrow, and let's hope for a solid day today. Cheers.